The story begins in the sprawling modern metropolis of Shanghai. A mother rocks her baby Chen, telling him he's lucky to be able to sleep after he's had enough. She admits she lost a lot of sleep caring for him, and she smiles lovingly, adding that as long as he grows up healthy, all her effort will be worth it. But the baby is conscious, realizing that he has been reincarnated. As he feeds, a system grants him energy points, confirming his new reality. And status window shows that his name is Lin Zikin. He is 33 days old, and he still has a special cheat ability. 3 months later, his parents are caring for him. His mother observes how well he behaves, while his father boasts about his son's physical gifts. The father believes the boy will become a powerful gene splicer or a cyborg. Meanwhile, Zichen unlocks an achievement for kicking his legs 10,000 times. Zichen is confused by his father's words. He wonders if genetic fuses and cyborgs are like superheroes like Spider-Man, or maybe they're more like Iron Man. The baby ponders these possibilities with a surprisingly serious expression. A month later, it is late at night in the family's quiet apartment, and Zichen has learned to sit and crawl. To avoid scaring his parents with his rapid progress, he only trains at night, gaining attributes as he moves. At 5 months of age, he has already mastered walking, further increasing his vitality and proficiency through his system. Now, at 6 months old, he finally feels safe to sit and crawl in front of his parents without raising too much suspicion. While the family watches television, a report comes on about aberrant beasts, gene splicers, and cyborgs joining forces to fight them. For the first time, he understands that Earth is different. The planet has mutated, giving rise to terrifying monsters known as aberrant beasts. To combat these creatures, humanity has devised 2 paths. One involves modifying their bodies with technology, transforming them into powerful cyborgs. The other path is advanced genetic modification, where humans fuse with the genes of aberrant animals to gain some of their incredible abilities. Aware of the danger, Zikin feels lucky to have his system. He decides he needs to grow up safely, maintain a low profile, and evolve to survive in this new world. With a determined gaze, the reincarnated young man prepares for the challenges that await him in this strange and dangerous life. Sometime later, her mother answers the door. A woman introduces herself as Su Meng, the new neighbor, and offers a housewarming gift. The neighbor introduces her husband, Shen Jiani, and her young daughter, Shen Qingyan, expressing her pleasure in meeting them. And Zikin recognizes the little girl as his first friend in this new world, unaware of how closely their futures will be intertwined. At 7 months old, he continues his training secretly, running around the room and gaining points in vitality, coordination, speed and technique. He also practices jumping, which instantly increases leg muscle strength and improves his overall jumping ability. According to his system, thanks to use and go ability, he masters basic running, jumping, and even language by 7 months of age, just by practicing. A month later, at 8 months old, his training progressed to the point where he could now do sit-ups and push-ups in his crib, and he only dares to do this when his parents are away. But one day, his mother suddenly appears and catches him in the act. She stands frozen in the doorway, shocked, and wonders why her son is doing sit-ups, and she quickly dismisses the vision as a stress-induced hallucination from her work as a web novel author. Zikin feigns sleep, relieved to have fooled her. A few days later, during bath time, the mother yells for her husband. She points to the baby and asks how he manages to have such a toned stomach at 8 months. The father is deep in thought, relating his son's enormous appetite to the sudden appearance of a defined abdomen. A moment later, an idea occurs to him, and he exclaims that he has figured it all out. And he asks his wife if their son could be a 1 in a million prodigy, to which she immediately agrees, seeing a bright future for him. The young man is relieved that his secret is safe, and considers it fortunate that his parents are web novel authors. He realizes he's not the only genius out there. As if on cue, a news report shows a 2-year-old from a family of martial artists easily lifting a 20 dumbbell with one hand, and his mother pats him proudly on the head, confident that her son is as amazing as he is and won't lose to any prodigies from elite families. He is happy with his mother's praise and wonders if he will also be strong enough to lift 20 kg when he turns 2. Time passes and, at 2 years old, he is in the warehouse effortlessly lifting a 20 kg weight with one hand. Suddenly, a voice shouts his name, telling him that Han is there to play. The surprise makes him freeze, almost dropping the heavy box, and he calmly puts the weight down and walks out of the warehouse, brushing some dust off his shoulder. He turns with a bright, curious expression on his face. Shen Qingyan, now 2 years old, offers her a pie. Zikin observes that her speech is still unclear for her age. Due to their mental age difference, they don't play together much. But he uses her as a weighted vest for push-up training while she sleeps. However, this human weighted vest has a small but recurring problem. He calls his mother, announcing that Han peed on him again. It's an occasional leak he has to deal with. A year passes and, at 3 years old, he can already lift a 40 kg weight with one hand in the tank. He watches a news report about a 4-year-old prodigy lifting 30k and feels proud that he is already stronger than him. And despite his strength, his status window shows that his biological level is still stuck at common level 1. He wonders what level 2 would be like. With these questions in mind, he leaves home for the first time and sees a world full of beastmen, robots and cyborgs. Accompanied by his mother and neighbors, he decides to go to the library to find answers, since he is not allowed to use electronic devices much. As he runs ahead, his mother calls out to him, reminding him that the children's section is in the other direction, but he has other plans. The two mothers watch in confusion as Zikin picks up a complex book. Kingen offers him cookies, but he declines, preferring to read. As you read, he begins to understand this changing world. Ancient tablets reveal 6 biological levels: ordinary, advanced, rare, epic, legendary, and mythic. The illustrations depict powerful creatures, from a legendary hero battling a mythical dragon. Further down the hierarchy are rare and epic beings, each looking more terrifying than the last. Each level has 9 levels, and with normal humans at ordinary level 1, he realizes how insignificant they are in this world. A system notification appears, rewarding you for reading. It unlocks a new biological attribute, the celestial root of wisdom. The system assigns him a new task, allowing him to train both his mind and body. Now 4 years old, he continues to read and train hard. At 4 years old, he enters kindergarten. His teacher, Miss Jung Mai, leads him and Kingen into the school, hand in hand. Shortly after starting kindergarten, he finally advances to ordinary level 2, now able to lift a weight 80 kg and run 100 meters in under 11 seconds. He knows his stats are excellent, but with great power comes responsibility. In class, he finds Han being bullied for wetting her pants, and seeing his friends surrounded and crying, he feels he has no choice but to intervene, so he jumps over the tables to intervene. And so he lands with a thud right in the middle of the confrontation, and his sudden appearance startles the group of bullies. The young man then issues a stern warning, threatening anyone who dares to bully her again with a rather unpleasant daily surprise. His threat takes effect instantly, sending the other children into tears. Kingen, however, looks at his protector with shining eyes. This act of dominance earned him the title of Kindergarten King in his system. He realized he could now multitask, and so, half a year later, he completes his reading quest, obtaining the celestial root of wisdom and reaching the pinnacle of human learning ability. Time flies, and soon they're almost 7, posing for a group photo at their kindergarten graduation ceremony. During his vacation before elementary school, he continues to train tirelessly, now strong enough to deadlift of 200 kg weight, and his physical abilities continue to improve as he practices high jumping in the forest, easily clearing a height of over 2 meters. He also focuses on speed, finally breaking 8-second barrier in the 100-meter dash, clocking in at 7.98 seconds. At night, he uses his advanced learning ability to study the elementary school curriculum, hoping to unlock the next title in his system. Finally, the day arrives, and your primary school life begins at Shanghai City Sunshine Primary School. He wins academic competitions with ease, but his main goal is to unlock the title of top dog in elementary school as quickly as possible. Whenever he has free time at school, he tutors Kingen to help her with her studies. Thanks to his help, her grades improved dramatically. After a semester, she was second in her class, right behind him. To accelerate his progress, he also participates in all of the school's sporting events, effortlessly breaking all existing school records. Just as he was settling into the quiet routine of school, the teacher announces that a new special transfer student is joining the class. A girl named Baishu enters the room. Zikin immediately senses a faint aura around her that doesn't seem entirely human. As the new student walks down the hallway, the entire class watches, captivated by her unique and mysterious presence. And Kingen whispers to Zikin, admiring the new student's beautiful white hair, but he is too focused on the strange aura to respond. Newbie Baishu takes a seat at the back of the classroom, and Zikin watches her, his mind racing with possibilities. He wonders if she could be a gene smelter or even descended from one. For the first few days, Baishu is completely silent. She rests her head on her desk as soon as class ends, barely moving. Initially, everyone was curious about her, but her withdrawn behavior eventually made them lose interest, and the classroom returned to normal. More than a month later, however, the silence is broken when Baishu begins to secrete a strange white liquid. The substance has an unpleasant odor and runs from her uniform onto her legs, creating a visible puddle. The other students react with disgust. One of the boys, Guanchun, jokingly offers to help wash it. He then pours a bottle of milk over her head, saying that a little bath will do her good. As the liquid drips onto the table, she clenches her fist, trying to contain her emotions, but she can't stop the tears from falling as she bites her lip in frustration and humiliation. Overwhelmed by the situation, the new student begins to cry as the bullies mock her. Kingen turns to Zikin, asking if they can help the poor girl. He watches, confused by the unexpected turn of events. He nods, deciding that for now she's just a weak girl being bullied. He stands, his expression hard, and Zikin grabs Guanchun by the collar, and his sudden action makes the bully fall silent. With a menacing smile, he calmly orders the boy to clean the water from Baishu's table. Terrified, Guanchun immediately agrees, stammering that he will clean it up immediately. He and his friends know that Zikin is famous at school, a student even the 6th graders don't dare mess with. they quickly set about cleaning up. The young hero then points at the bullies, ordering them to come and apologize to Baishu immediately. The intimidated students shout in unison, agreeing to do what he says without any hesitation. The bullies lined up in front of Baishu, bowed their heads as they apologized and promised never to bother her again. With tears in her eyes, Baishu thanks Zikin and Kingen for their help, her voice full of gratitude, and Kingen comforts her, saying that classmates should help each other. From that day on, Kingen befriends Baishu, dragging Zikin along with her. She always shares her delicious snacks with her new friend first. One day Baishu hesitates, struggling to find the right words to say to her new companions. She timidly asks if they are not disgusted by her because she smells bad. And so, the girl explains that she has been excluded and despised by everyone around her since she was little, which is why she doesn't trust people easily. Having someone by her side for the first time seems so unreal, like she's living a dream. And Kingen immediately refutes this, saying that what she is experiencing is not a dream. She assures her new friend that she will never be disgusted by her and promises to be her friend forever. Both Zichen and Kingen extend their hands, making a sincere promise of friendship. Touched by their kindness, Baishu hugs Kingen, and the two girls hug tightly, and she cries tears of joy, thanking them repeatedly for their genuine friendship. Suddenly, the white-haired girl remembers something she wanted to give them. She explains that since they always share their snacks with her, she wants to give something back, and so she presents her daughter with a pair of animal tusks, a birthday present from her mother, and offers them as a symbol of their eternal friendship. Kingen accepts the gift, and the two girls enthusiastically agree that they will be friends forever. The three of them stand together under the sunset, celebrating their new bond, hoping it will last a lifetime. But just when Kingen thought their friendship would last forever, the unexpected happens. She's shocked to learn that Baishu has transferred schools, and Zikin confirms the news, saying he saw the girl filling out the withdrawal papers with his own eyes. He peeks into the principal's office and sees Baishu with a man with robotic arms. The principal assures him that his documents are confidential. Zikin realizes that her identity was anything but straightforward. From that day on, he never saw her again. She became just another person passing through his childhood, leaving behind only the memory of her long white hair. Later, he gives his mother a shoulder massage. Thanks to his special skill, he's learned professional techniques that help relieve her writing stress. Suddenly, a news story catches your eye. It features yet another incredible achievement by the famous Kyoto prodigy. At just 10 years old, the prodigy successfully fused with the genes of aberrant beasts, allowing him to lift a massive boulder with one hand. And Zikin's father enters, complaining that the prodigy is on TV again and questioning if they are turning the boy into an influencer. The parents discuss the matter. The father explains that, for old martial arts families, the family's interests always come first. And Zikin estimates he's already stronger. At just 8 years old, he can lift 300 ki without any genetic fusion, far surpassing the prodigy. He clenches his fist, confident that his potential is far greater than that of the boy on the news. But his confidence is shaken by the next report, which shows a serious attack by an aberrant beast that occurred in a neighboring country. Eyewitness footage reveals a city in ruins, overrun by a terrifying swarm of giant, monstrous rats. And so a woman is shown trapped, about to be devoured by one of the massive creatures, as she desperately cries for help. The giant beast's sharp teeth clamp down, sealing the terrified victim's fate in a brutal display of power. The investigation confirms that heretics were behind the attack, fanning the flames of shadow and controlling the beasts. A politician from the affected country asks other countries for help in eradicating this dangerous cult, and Zichen discovers that the cult is an anti-human group. He feels lucky to live in a stable country where he can train safely. Just as he thinks this, his eyes widen in alarm as he hears a sudden sound coming from outside. He hears powerful sonic booms outside the window, startling both him and his parents. Without a second thought, he quickly runs towards the window to investigate the commotion. He pulls back the curtain, his hand steady as he prepares to look outside. Peering over, he sees a squadron of cyborg officers flying through the night sky. He wonders why they're out there at this hour, hoping nothing bad is happening. The next morning, everything seems normal when the students arrive at school, and Kingen runs to find Zikin, apologizing for making him wait and asking him to hurry so he won't be late. As she approaches, something catches his eye, and his expression changes to surprise. He points out that her beast fang necklace is glowing. She looks down, shocked to see that it actually is. He realizes that the inhuman aura he was sensing from her must be coming from the beast's aberrant fang. The glow fades quickly, so they don't think much of it. But he has a bad feeling something's about to happen. On the way to school, they are stopped by a woman with long red hair. She exclaims how adorable they are, her attention fixed on the two young friends. The woman approaches, asking if they are siblings, her gaze lingering on them with a curious smile. And Kingen proudly declares that they are not brothers but childhood best friends. The stranger smiles, saying she is jealous and wishes she had a childhood friend too. And she then asks where their parents are, and her expression gets a little more intense as she gets closer. And Kingen starts to respond, but Zikin quickly grabs her hand, telling her to stop talking. He pulls her away, warning her that they'll be late. The mysterious woman watches them leave without saying anything else. As they walk away, he gently reminds her not to answer any questions a stranger asks. She nods. After school, the sun begins to set, casting long shadows over the city. They take a shortcut through a deserted alley. Kingen notices how silent and eerie the place is, and Zekin explains that the area is scheduled to be demolished next week, which is why everyone has already moved out. A voice shouts behind them, announcing that the children have finally left the school. The woman from before appears, calmly telling someone named Cheng that she has the children, and so Zikin realizes that she followed them, although he deliberately took a different route home. She invites them to her home to eat tasty treats, but her companion grows impatient with her antics. The man tells her to just knock them down and drag them away, tired of all the talk. He steps forward, explaining that he is in a hurry to sell them for money, but Zikin is ready, standing his ground as the large man advances toward them. He clenches his fist, preparing to counterattack with all his might. The punch lands squarely on the man's chin, sending a shockwave through his opponent's body. The force of the blow sends the man flying backward, stunning the red-haired woman with an unexpected display of power, and she can't believe her eyes, wondering how a middle schooler can make a grown man fly. As she stares in disbelief, Zikin closes the distance between them, his fist pointed directly at her. He delivers another powerful punch, sending the woman falling to the ground. With the two defeated, he picks up a nearby brick and his expression turns serious. Realizing there are no cameras around, he decides to take them down to protect his secret and his plan to keep a low profile. But just as he is about to act, the ground beneath them begins to shake violently. A massive, clawed hand bursts through a nearby wall, shattering the concrete with ease. A giant aberrant rat emerges from the hole, towering over them with a menacing roar. The monster opens its huge jaws, ready to devour the unconscious woman lying on the ground. But before he can attack, another figure swoops down from above, landing directly on top of the beast. The massive beast looms over them as Kingen asks, terrified, what it is. Zikin knows the situation is dire. He quickly picks it up, calmly identifying the creature as a giant, freakish rat. With his friend in his arms, he immediately turns to run away, knowing they need to get to safety now. At that moment, a blonde woman in red armor flies down from above, quickly descending into the alley, and the figure passes by the monster with incredible speed. Kingen watches in astonishment, wondering if it's a cyborg. The armored warrior lands silently behind the giant rat, her movements too fast for the beast to react. She raises her arm cannon, which glows with immense power as she aims and charges her attack. And the cyborg announces that his weapon is ready, loaded with anesthetic smoke to subdue the creature, and she then fires a volley of glowing projectiles, which slice through the air directly at the aberrant rat. A huge explosion occurs when the projectiles hit their target, and Zichen shields Kingen from the powerful shockwave, and the cyborg unleashes a volley of glowing projectiles, which slice through the air directly at the aberrant rat. The aberrant rat roars in pain, its body engulfed in smoke and fire from the powerful attack, and despite the damage, the multi-eyed beast remains standing, drool dripping from its sharp teeth as it glares forward. The armored warrior follows up with a powerful electrical attack, wrapping the monster in crackling energy. Watching a report of the incident later, Zikin notes the cyborg's level probably wasn't high, as it took 7 minutes to win, and he reflects on how tough aberrant rats are, growing over 10 meters long and reaching the 5th tier of the ordinary level. Feeling lucky he escaped, he decides to intensify his training, immediately starting with weighted squats to gain more stats, and life goes on despite the danger. Soon, he and Kingen celebrate 9th birthday with their families, making a wish over their cake. After making their wishes, they exchange gifts, and he gently pats his friend on the head as she looks down shyly. Thanks to his special ability, he carved her a wooden hairpin. She loves the gift, telling him how pretty it is. In what feels like an instant, they graduate from elementary school. A system notification confirms he's completed 9 years of education. During the break, he sticks to a high-intensity training regimen, even doing push-ups with a massive boulder on his back. Just before middle school starts, his hard work pays off. He breaks through to ordinary 3rd tier while doing interval training. Coincidentally, a story about the Kyoto prodigy appears on TV the night before school starts, catching his attention. The 14-year-old fused with giant ant genes now lifts a 2000 gi block, but Zikin calculates that he is still stronger. He smiles confidently, looking forward to the day he might get his own gene fusion and unlock even greater power. On the first day of middle school, he and Kingen walk to class. He chose this school so they could stay together. At registration, the principal and teachers welcome him warmly, having high hopes for the city's top student. But he snuck away, revealing the real reason for his choice was the school's excellent athletic facilities for him and his friend to use. Kingen holds her racket, eagerly telling him it's time to start their game of badminton before school officially begins. The girl serves the shuttlecock with all her might, announcing her special move, the fairy's curveball. But her opponent catches the shuttlecock effortlessly with his bare hand, stopping her attack before it even starts. And just then, an upperclassman interrupts their game, informing the new students that the court is reserved, and so his friends join in, offering to give the girl some private lessons. She argues back, saying they were there first and should follow the rules, and Zekin steps forward, telling the older students to get away from her and reminding them of the first come, first served rule, and so the leader of the group scoffs, declaring that he's taking the court no matter who was there first. He holds up the shuttlecock, telling the younger student to listen up. As he tosses the shuttlecock into the air, he begins to state his terms, but Zichin leaps up, intercepting it and declaring that from now on, his rules are the only ones that matter. With a powerful swing, he smashes the shuttlecock, sending it flying toward the bully with incredible force. The shuttlecock glows with energy as it shoots through the air like a bullet. It zips right past the leader's head, shattering his racket into pieces and knocking his cap clean off. And his friends are terrified by the display of speed and power, wondering if the young man is even human. The bullies immediately bow an apology, agreeing to leave and let them have the court. After that, no one ever bullied them again. Middle school life continued peacefully, feeling much the same as before. Having already finished the curriculum, he spent his class time reading advanced books that he found interesting. At night, after working out, he would go online to learn a wide variety of new skills, from cooking to wilderness survival. To unlock his next title, he dominated not just his school but also various national competitions, winning countless awards. A semester went by in a flash. While the title remained locked, his performance earned him piles of letters from fangirls. He paid them no mind, focusing instead on tutoring Kingin and preparing for the upcoming sports festival to finally unlock his title. For the sports festival, he entered 3 events. In the shot put, he launched the ball an incredible 21 meters, shattering all records. He chose events representing strength, jumping ability, and speed, effortlessly clearing the high jump bar with perfect form. His goal was total domination of the athletic events, which he easily achieved by leaving everyone behind in the sprinting competition. Although he held back to avoid being too conspicuous, he still took first place with ease, earning a gold medal. Just as he celebrated his victory, he suddenly felt a new power surging through his body, catching him by surprise. A system window confirmed his achievement. He had finally unlocked the title of Middle School Overlord and a new biological attribute. The system explains his new predator ability, which allows him to devour the life essence of other creatures. Walking with Henin, he wonders what that really means. Snapping out of his thoughts, an idea suddenly occurs to him. He turns to his companion and asks if he can borrow the beast fang she wears as a necklace for a moment. Without hesitation, she places the small fang attached to a string in his outstretched hand. The moment his fingers make contact with the fang, he feels a strange surge of energy course through him. A system window confirms that he has just devoured a trace of the life essence of a giant abyssal butterfly. He is surprised to discover the fang belonged to a butterfly. Later that night, he sits at his computer, hoping to find more information online about this exotic beast. 8. However, his search for the giant abyssal butterfly yields no results, leaving him baffled. Realizing the creature is unknown, he decides he'll have to study it on his own. Then he remembers he has another fang, one he was given a while back. As he holds the second fang, a surge of purple energy envelopes him, and the system confirms he's absorbed another 1% of the life essence. He realizes the fangs contain very little essence and that he'll need to find another way to unleash their full potential. The next day, he begins a new training routine, cycling with Henin to and from school every day. He believes this will improve their speed, allowing them to escape quickly if they ever encounter another mutant rat. Just then, someone calls his name. A man stops them, introducing himself as Coach Gu of the martial arts team. He praises the young man's performance in the school sports tournament. Excitedly, the coach formally invites him to join the school martial arts team. The coach insists that his athletic talent surpasses even his academic abilities, begging him to join and offering to watch first. Before he can refuse, the coach waves goodbye, telling him the team is meeting in the school gym and that he'll be waiting for him. As the sun begins to set over the city, a new path seems to have opened up for him. The young man ponders the offer, considering this a new opportunity to become even stronger. Back in his room, he examines a dead cockroach. He realizes that killing common insects doesn't activate its predator ability, confirming that only exotic beasts possess it. With a new plan in mind, he grabs his phone and quickly prepares to leave the house. He cycles around the city with his friend, intending to visit a supermarket that sells animal meat to test his theory. They soon arrive at their destination, a large, multi-story supermarket in the city center. Inside, he finds a lot of animal meat, but it's pre-packaged, preventing him from testing his theory. Just then, he hears a butcher shout that freshly cut animal meat is available nearby. He immediately spots the butcher's counter, where large cuts of fresh meat are on display. He tells his companion to wait a moment and quickly heads to the butcher's stand. He hurried over, thinking he'd confirm his idea about life essence as soon as possible. He reached the counter and reached out with anticipation to finally touch the raw beast meat. Upon touching it, a powerful surge of purple energy flooded him, confirming that beast meat contains life essence. He clenched his fist excitedly, While his friend watched from afar, completely confused by his strange behavior, the girl approached and asked him what he found so exciting and if beast meat felt different from regular meat. He simply said that she felt cooler and asked if she wanted to touch her too, but she nervously declined. He then suggested that, since they were there, they could buy some to try at home. Much to her surprise, he understood her reaction to the prices. He pointed out that the beast's meat wasn't cheap at all. 17. After opting for the cheapest option, he buys a pack of ghost squid, which still costs almost 1,000 Gene. She worries that it's too expensive and suggests she ask her aunt before buying anything. He tells her not to worry, gently patting her on the head to reassure her. He then explains that his mother already gave him permission to buy quite a bit, which finally eases her worries. He thinks happily about how his mother agreed to buy a lot of meat for a feast for both families, even offering to transfer the money to her. He buys 3 ghost squid, not only to share, but also to test whether absorbing the life essence would spoil it. After paying the high price, they leave the supermarket, and he comments on how expensive it was. It's already late, so they decide to cycle home through the quiet city streets for added safety. On the way, he can't resist the temptation to test his theory and reaches into the bike basket. The moment of truth has arrived. He places his hand directly over the squid's purple tentacles, ready to absorb its life essence. A powerful wave of purple lightning engulfs him as the system confirms that he has devoured a trace of the ghost squid's essence. A vision of the enormous and terrifying creature appears before his eyes, unlocking 0.1% of his guide. As they continue their journey home, he becomes lost in thought, processing the new information he has just acquired. He calculates that to reach 100%, he would need to spend an enormous amount of money on squid meat. However, he believes that obtaining the squid's ability to dissolve in water would be absolutely worth it. Determined, he decides he needs to find a way to make a lot of money on his own. Then he recalls his initial experiment, testing whether absorbing life essence would cause the meat to spoil. He looks inside the basket and sees that the squid meat still looks perfectly fresh and intact. He is thrilled to discover that the meat isn't spoiled and that his progress bar for the squid is now at 3%. Overcome with excitement, he receives a sudden warning from his companion. Watch out for someone up ahead. He turns just in time to avoid a couple, quickly apologizing for his carelessness. He realizes he was too focused on absorbing energy and not watching the road. Just then, his friend points out a commotion nearby. He looks around and is shocked to see his teacher, Chow Mei, being held hostage by a man with a knife. A group of police officers have surrounded the kidnapper, ordering him to drop his weapon and remain calm. The police captain tells his officer not to shoot, as the target is too skilled and is using the hostage as a shield. The captain dismisses the idea of using sleeping gas, fearing it might provoke the suspect before it takes effect. Seeing the police officer's hesitation, the young man silently picks up a small rock from the ground. He throws it with incredible speed and accuracy, aiming directly at the kidnapper's hand. The rock hits its target, causing the man to scream in pain and drop his gun. Seizing their opportunity, the officers rush to arrest the suspect. They quickly subdue the man while a female officer comforts the terrified teacher. As they try to leave, his friend quietly asks him if he was the one who threw the rock, but he tells her they'll talk later. 9. Just as they were about to ride their bikes off, a police officer yelled at them to stop, asking if he was the one who threw the rock. The young man nervously denied it, hoping to avoid attracting attention. The police officer watched them walk away, finding it odd that someone wouldn't admit to doing a good deed. The police captain held up the rock and mentioned that there was a reward for bravery. The word reward immediately caught the young man's attention, and his eyes widened in astonishment. He quickly turned his bike around and sped back toward the police captain, stopping abruptly. He admitted to throwing the rock, explaining that the money was very important to him. The captain invited him to the police station to file a report. As they were escorted to the station, he informed their families of the situation, optimistic about receiving his first income. 17. But just when he thinks everything is going well, something goes terribly wrong. The captive suspect begins to convulse, his face contorting as dark veins appear all over his skin. Suddenly, he transforms into a monstrous, rat-like creature, spreading panic among the surrounding officers, who identify him as a heretic. The police captain quickly orders all security forces to open fire on the mutant rat while protecting the civilians. The police open fire, but the bullets bounce harmlessly off the giant rat's tough hide as they call for backup. The professor and his friend gasp in fear, clutching their chests as the monster roars. It quickly grabs them both, realizing that escape is their only priority at that moment. They run for their lives, relieved that the giant rat isn't chasing them. Suddenly, a figure in high-tech armor leaps into the air, drawing the attention of the fleeing group. The armored figure, a cyborg, delivers a powerful kick to the monster's head, sending it staggering backward. The cyborg gracefully dodges the monster's retaliatory blow and lands on a nearby building. It begins charging a powerful laser cannon. Its armor glows with purple energy. 9. With a scream, he fires a massive energy beam directly at the giant mutant rat. The monster is completely engulfed by the powerful blast, emitting one last agonized roar. The laser beam vaporizes the creature, leaving only a faint plume of smoke in the air. The young man watches in awe at the display of power, completely stunned by the cyborg's strength. The professor and his friend are relieved to be saved, while he is simply glad his bike was undamaged. But then, he suddenly stops, a look of understanding on his face. He looks inside his bike basket and discovers that the beast's flesh has spoiled and turned dark. He realizes that absorbing the life essence eventually spoils the meat, but only belatedly. He decides to blame the heretic for this. He dramatically throws the rotten meat away, blaming the cyborg's powerful attack for roasting. Instead of going home, they are taken to the police station to testify about the incident. To their dismay, they have to travel in the same van as the heretic's burned remains, which emit a foul odor. As they endure the smell, they suddenly wonder if they can devour the lifeblood of the Rat King gene from the corpse.